For today's story, we talk about a person who committed a purulent assault against a 10-year-old and now is facing the stiff fine of potential probation. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Uncivil Law, where we learn through the misfortunes of others. As always, I hope you'll enjoy this legal education content, and today may be the day I earn your subscription. For today's story, we are dealing with Los Angeles, California, who is proposing, how about, that person who did that thing against the 10-year-old, maybe they're not so bad, and, we shouldn't really punish them that hard. So we're going to read this article about Los Angeles, which will not be the only one we'll be reading today, unfortunately, dealing with people getting off for very unfortunate acts with very light sentences. This is one of two. This one's coming from Los Angeles, so let's get started with this. So Los Angeles' DA has been ripped over sentencing for a transgender woman, so that would be a man, who sexually assaulted a girl. Or is it a girl? Because are we assuming the gender of the girl? How do we know it's a girl? I'm confused. Hannah over here has been arrested for battery, drug possession, and probation violations in other states as well. Not that that's important. The Los Angeles District Attorney is facing criticism after a 26-year-old transgender woman, that would be a man, pled guilty to sexually assaulting a young girl and faces sentencing of a short stay in juvenile detention or probation. It's useless to catch criminals like Hannah if we don't follow through and seek justice for victims, such as the 10-year-old girl that they sexually assaulted. The LA County Supervisor says that they will be offered therapeutic interventions under the auspices of restorative judges and possibly granted only probation or parole. California is a strange state, man. It's a strange, silly place. Don't go there. Hannah Tubbs over here, who is currently 26, pled guilty to assaulting a 10-year-old girl in a woman's bathroom back in 2014. So let me get this straight. A transgender woman, by which we mean a man, went into a woman's bathroom and purulently assaulted a 10-year-old. I'm sure it's just a caricature of the right, though. Okay. Hannah over here walked into the bathroom of a Denny's where they grabbed the 10-year-old by the throat, locked them in a stall, and put the hand down the girl's pants. How exciting and disturbing and horrible. And upon taking office, DA hero over here, Gaston, or maybe we'll call him Gaston. Yeah, no, we'll call him Gaston. No one lets P words off like Gaston. No one lets transgenders off like Gaston. No one coddles and throttles and forgives like Gaston. Upon taking office, Gaston over here vowed to immediately stop prosecuting children as adults. Gaston has studies showing brain development isn't complete until age 25. This clearly shows you the dangerous aspects of blatant policies. Here you have a person who committed at least 2 separate assaults of young girls, who is now 26 and has a history of violent conduct. This is not someone who should be treated as a juvenile. The reason, by the way, they're being treated as a juvenile because the assaults happened just before they were 18, which means juvenile prison and, juvenile slaps on the wrist for the 2 purulent assaults of the very, very young minors. Good times. Tubbs over here will be sentenced later this month and faces a stay at juvenile hall. The 26-year-old, let's fully contemplate this in all of its levels. Okay, so the 26-year-old, we're thinking about sentencing to juvenile hall because they were convicted of sexually purulently assaulting minors. We're going to put them in juvenile hall. The transgender person with the history of the purulent assault on minors, let's put them in a place filled with minors. Okay, I'm sure that will be just totally fine. Fine. Or it could be granted probation, because I'm sure that they've learned their life lesson now. Gaston over here, villain of the piece, told an outlet they were concerned Tubbs could be victimized in an adult facility as a trans woman. That would be a man. That's a man, baby. And said probation report recommended being sentenced to home confinement. Why not just sentence them to confinement at a preschool, as well as this is the way this is going? Prosecutors said Tubbs has been kept in custody for 2 years, noted a gap in the time between the assault and the case being prosecuted. Oh, yes, because it's been 8 years because we suck as the state of California. That definitely should lessen the penalties, Okay. Tubbs has previously been arrested for battery, drug possession, and probation violations in Idaho and Washington, so, it's going real well over here. So that brings us to the end of the discussion of Los Angeles, saying that a 26-year-old who has histories of battery and assault and violations in multiple states, and most notably purulently assaulted a 10-year-old, should for sure be kept in a juvenile facility, or maybe released or given probation, because they done learn their lesson, don't you know? Also, they're trans. So, yeah, okay, fine. So, all those things. So, yeah, Los Angeles sucks. California sucks. Don't go there. It's a silly place. And that brings us to the end of the discussion of this case. Thank you so much for being part of the Uncivil Law family. If you enjoyed this legal education content, please hit the subscribe button. It really helps the channel grow. We appreciate your continuing support. And until later, my friends, cheers and goodbye.